I am teacher of teachers, and I'm teaching them not to judge the students at all. It's just one of those things, you never know what people are dealing with. And how could we, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but how could we possibly judge knowing only the iota of information about them that presents? So anyway, how can we learn to love ourselves, and how can we learn not to judge ourselves when we're being judged by the very teacher, right? So how did I learn it? Through asana.
Is he judging? But I'm just curious, is he judging you, or is he challenging your ego? I mean, or is it the same thing? I mean, not to get too off the tangent, but maybe he was just trying to, keep you in check.
In all fairness, I have to say it was, because I have not seen my beloved teacher for nearly two decades or something like that. And I learned the most important lessons from him in that way. And so let's honor that for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I was feeling pretty judged. I was just working really hard. Yeah, and I was feeling pretty judged. And it's actually kind of what it pointed me in a direction that I went as a teacher. You know, I learned a lot. These types of teachers made me the teacher that I am. And that's what we're going to get a lot more into with a lot more specificity. So just reeling it back in again, that is the way that I learned this through asana, is by learning to look myself straight in my own eyes without even blinking, and to learn to love myself exactly as I am, accept myself exactly as I am, not judge myself, so that I can love and accept others and not judge others. We can't do it for someone else if we can't do it for ourselves. And so that right there is item number one anyway. But the second step was, remember, the body is a learning device for the mind, and we're meant to learn it on the mat to use it in the life of teachers. Now the conversation is how to support people who want to serve on a higher level. So that's what we're doing here. Clear? Okay.
Right.
So
No, I'm very happy.
yeah. Remember, in the case of this student that prompted this conversation, is that what she was desperately craving was that spiritual study and self-study. And I saw myself in that, because I got deep, deep, deep into the inner world. I think we talked about that a lot in the first interview. And so the realization that what she was saying to me, through no longer being as fulfilled with only teaching postures, and wanting more silence and wanting more introspection and inner space, inner world study, she was indicating to me that she's ready for cultivation on the deeper level so that she can serve on a deeper level. So now we've already touched on what's required in order to be able to do that. So the first thing that we've already talked about is you yourself, as a space holder, as a facilitator for transformation, need to be deeply grounded and connected to the truth of who you are in its highest form. Not
How do you know the truth of who we are, though? That, I mean, can we start there in a way? When you say that, yeah, I know myself on one level, and how do I know I'm at the truth of who I am? How do we, when we reach that place?
I think it might be something like this. And I hadn't anticipated the question. So I'm really feeling the answer. I hope I can really articulate exactly the way I'm seeing it. And that is that we basically take off this mask, right, of who we think we are. Oh, I'm Kim and I'm teaching yoga, and, you know, you put that down and you connect to yourself as simply an aspect of the creator, right? With no, you know how they say we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are. To not be projecting upon someone, to be standing as the truth of who you are, and connected to your truth, coming from love in pure time. These are all things that I am going to talk about in detail. So we'll let it kind of unroll like that. So when you are right there, now, pure time present moment is everything. And I do mean everything. So when you are standing in your authenticity, connecting as your highest self, there is no time. There is no history. There is no history to hold against someone. There is no projecting of who you think you are. You simply are, as a state of being in a field of trust with no judgment, coming from love, and availing yourself on all of these levels. So, oh yeah, God, listen to this. So in yoga, we would say, can you give yourself your undivided attention? And we talked about how most people, first of all, definitely don't give themselves their undivided attention, but nor are they really availing themselves on all the levels in pure time for others as well. So now we're looking at listing, naming, qualifying ways that you can serve on a higher level. And by the way, I have to tell you this, I'm going to talk about it as far as being a yoga teacher, but this is by no means limited to your profession, your occupation,